Hi, my name is Zenith and welcome to my world. I've been designing and making clothing for a long time, but one of the things I have never made is any lingerie. So for my first project I thought I'd make myself a bralette. Simple, I thought. So I hopped onto YouTube to see what was available. I was a little bit surprised. There were many tutorials, but not any of them, with the exception of one, I lie, just one, actually worked. They were either too small when I put in my measurements, or they were a really strange shape. And the one tutorial that did work, when I tried the formula on a smaller bust size, it didn't work. And when I tried it on a larger bust size, it also didn't work. So I thought that there has to be a formula, there has to be a method that works for any person, any bust size. So I put on my thinking cap, went away, did a little bit of jiggling with my own ideas, and I think I have come up with a formula that will work for you. So follow me and we'll work through this together. We're going to take our measurements based on this mannequin, but obviously you need to take your measurements based on your body. And just for, I know you can't really see on the camera, but if I turn it to the side, hopefully it'll give you a view of what the bust looks like on this mannequin. So it gives you an idea of what we're working with. So for our first measurement, we're going to take the chest measurement. This needs to be directly under the bust, all the way around. And you want it to be relatively snug, but you don't want it to be so tight that it cuts into the skin. And you certainly don't want it to be loose. A loose band is no good. And the second measurement you'll need will be, again, directly under the bust, over the bust at its widest point, over your shoulder, and down the back where you want your straps to stop, where they meet your band when you've made your bralette. And then the next measurement is under the bust, at the root where your breasts meet your chest, across the widest point of your bust, and as high as you want your bralette to be. Now this again is dependent on you. You may decide you want quite a shallow bralette, or you may want it to be taller. Again, it's dependent on you. In this case, I'm going to go for 15 centimetres. Then the next measurement you need is the actual breast size. So from the sternum, across the widest part of your bust to the side of your bust, and you want to make sure that you incorporate all of the breast tissue. In this case I'm going to say 17 centimetres. She doesn't have a bust, she's a mannequin. Yours will be different. And again, the final measurement is what I call the undercup measurement. It's under the breast up to the widest point of your breast, which in this case I'm going to say is going to be 6.5 for my mannequin. And those are all the measurements that you need for the bralette basic shape itself. Okay, having got our measurements, we're now ready to draft this very basic bralette cup. The first line we're going to draw is the bralette height from under the bust to the top of the bra, whatever you decided you wanted yours to be. I decided I wanted mine to be 15 centimetres. So let's draw a line to square off the bottom. 15 centimetres from the bottom up. And while I'm here, I'm also going to draw in the underbust to bust point, or the nipple point, whichever happens to be larger for you, which was 6.5, which is there. And then our bralette was rather the horizontal bust girth for my mannequin was 17 centimetres. Let me just put this here, so we're going to be 15 here, 6.5 centimetres here, and this will be 17 centimetres here. We don't really need to draw all the way along because all we need is half this measurement, which is 8.5. And we'll join those up here. This is point A, this is point B. We're going to draw a diagonal line from point A to point B. Now I know that this point, this line, is 12 centimetres, and you want to divide it by 3 and go up a third, which is in this case 4 centimetres, and then we want to draw a line above that point of, this line from your diagonal line to this new point is 5 millimetres. And then we want to draw a curve. When we're ready, we want to draw a straight line to this point and curve around the bust point, because of course we don't have pointy boobs. So we'll draw a curve to that line, joining it up, and then from point A, a straight line. And we want to continue this line, this curve, just a tiny amount. It's literally just a few millimetres. And we're going to also come in at the bottom. In this case, now this again is slightly arbitrary. I would recommend 1 centimetre, but depending on the fullness of your bust, you may need more or you may need less. But in this instance, I'm going to use 1 centimetre, and I'm going to come out by just a few millimetres. It's probably like, in this case, it would be, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, something like that. In this case, it would literally be 2 millimetres. And I'm going to draw a curved line to join up these points. And that's it. This shape is 1/2 of the basic bralette cup. So I'm going to add seam allowance all the way around this, and I'm going to cut 2 of them out to test it on my mannequin. Now, before I cut it out, full disclosure, I know that this particular shape is not going to fit my mannequin because my mannequin simply isn't as curved as I have drafted this pattern. But this is what you would need if you were making a pattern for a real person. Going to open it out. And there we have it. Now at this point I recommend that you try this against your own body, see how it fits. Wherever you think it needs to be adjusted, make those adjustments, and then cut it in a sample fabric, some calico, whatever you have available, and again test it. Is this going to work for your body shape? And again, if not, then make the adjustments that you need to make in the paper and then retest it. Here is our pattern piece on the mannequin. It kind of looks okay until you look a little bit more closely. When I turn it to the side, you'll see there's quite a lot of material. If I pinch it in, you'll see that it's basically too big and I need to adjust it. And if you follow me, I'll show you how to make the various adjustments you might need to make to get a better fitting bralette. Now here's I made one earlier. So this is basically this pattern. You can see it's exactly the same. And this is the second one I made to fit my actual mannequin. As you can see, the shape is not vastly different, but it's enough of a difference that if this were for a real person, it would either work or not work, be comfortable or uncomfortable. So you can see at this point here where I have curved, put in this extra curve, this is effectively a dart that I have put back into the mannequin version, thereby making it flatter underneath the bust point. Remember, point B was the bust point, so this is the point B. From here downwards, it is no longer there, it's flat, hence the reason why this fits so well on the mannequin. And I will now go on to show you some other little tricks that you can make to this basic shape to get a better fit. Okay, so now we're going to look at 4 different little tricks that you can do to make adjustments to your bralette so that it will fit you. So what if you have a rounder bust? So this is the bust point, the nipple point. What if for you are rounder here rather than at the bottom? Now it's probably unlikely that you're going to be flatter at the bottom, so we're going to still put in that curve. And if you remember, it's just a few millimeters out from this line here, and we're going to curve that line from here all the way round to about 1 centimetre underneath. So I'll just quickly draw that in. But what if you find that your bust is larger? So simply just raise the amount that you need. So let's say for this example, it is about, just a little bit above 1 centimetre, just to make it obvious. And you want to curve that line to meet that point. And I would recommend that you continue, rather than doing just a straight line, to do a curve that's going to match up to point A. And there we have it. So you can see there's much more fullness at the top of this particular pattern piece for a person who has a rounder bust. But what if you want to reduce fullness? As you saw from the mannequin version, one method was to simply flatten this line because there wasn't a need for as much fullness here. But what if you want to reduce the fullness at the side? A simple way to do that is to move point A. So point A on this pattern is right at this corner, but it can be anywhere along this top line. So again, it would be dependent on your shape and your measurements. So I'm just going to put literally an arbitrary line here. So my new side seams, my new side seams on the Bralette Cup will be here. This is our bust point, that hasn't changed. But maybe you still need a little bit of fullness at the bottom, so we're going to go from this point here. So we'll add in our small curve. For our new bra shape. Now what we've actually done on this bra is we've actually reduced the distance from the bust point to the sides of your bra. So you'd end up with a bra with a shape that's like this. So that's the original, this would be the new bra shape. Using exactly the same original measurements, but you can see this line here comes in quite a long way compared to the previous, and it means that when you wear, if you were to wear this particular bra, there'd be basically less coverage on the insides and the outsides of your bust. So if you're looking for something, you know, for a bikini, you want something a little bit sexier, this fullness reduction would work. Now, one of the other things I discovered with this particular shape was that at the sides there'd be a tiny bit of gaping when it was actually on the body. It's not obvious when you put it just against a flat surface. So I actually put in a dart just on one side, in the area that would be going under my arm. So I would draw from point A to the bust point at 1 centimetre again. But I'd also put in a tiny dart and pinch that out. And as I said, it was just on one side, and it went from the bust point . While in paper it doesn't look hugely different, but when it's flat you can see it does actually change the shape quite a bit, and it made all the difference between it being snug against my body under my arm and it just being a bit gapey and not very attractive. And you may find that you would benefit from not only doing this under your arm, but maybe on both sides or just on the inside, you know, the point at which your the side of your bra meets your sternum, you may find that you want to have a bit of closure there by just simply putting in a dart. And finally, you may decide that you want more fullness rather than less fullness at the side. So again, point A, I was going to do it by eye, but I won't cheat. But as I said, you may decide that you need more fullness. So again, just decide on what works for you, what's best, and you can just draw in the fullness. I am doing this freehand, wherever you need it along that line. And having drawn that in, I suspect you will then also need to put in a dart, just to make sure that because you've basically increased this line, but you may not want to increase that line. You may actually then need to close it off so that it fits snugly to your body. So in this instance, we've increased it and then also added a dart in there as well. And you may only need that on one side, but you may decide that you need it on both sides, on the inside and the outside of your bralette cup. And here is the final garment. With a minimal amount of adjusting, I've been able to go from a very basic triangular shape to make a full pattern. As you can see, I've used some of the techniques I've demonstrated. This pattern piece, for example, has had a little bit of a dart taken out of it just at this point. This is the reason why it is the shape that it is. And this is the bodice piece that I made. I decided that I didn't want just a simple bralette, but I decided I wanted to have a camisole, hence this bodice. I also decided to make a fully graded pattern for this camisole top. It is available on my Etsy store, and if you decide that you don't want to make a pattern for yourself, you can print it off and have fun making your own garments with it. The link for my Etsy store is down below, so check out the notes. If you found this tutorial useful, please shake the hand of the like button, tap to subscribe and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Thank you for watching. See you soon.